I'm cursed. For some reason, I don't know what is going. Last week, a book fell off this shelf, almost knocked me out. That was a light fixture on my ceiling. I'm not even joking around here. How does a light fixture just fall off your ceiling that's been here for 20 years? Maybe I should look for a new place to film videos. This is kind of spooky. What in the world? Somebody doesn't want me talking about this, but let's continue. And you saw that live. That wasn't planned stage. That was live. Okay, I'm like a little nervous here. Good morning, everybody. My family was recently in a car accident. No fault of ours. We were hit. The person took off. So I've just been through this experience. I'm actually running out the door to go pick up my vehicle. It's ready at the shop. It's been months. So let me explain, in case this happens to you, you'll know what to expect, what to do, and process the information before it ever happens, and hopefully it never does. This was a pain in the neck to deal with. It's not as easy as the insurance companies want to make it sound. And, you know, some of these companies are advertising, oh, it's easy as just give us a call or go on the app. So not true. So let me tell you the reality of this. First of all, when you're hit, you want to make sure everybody is okay, obviously. Thankfully, nobody in my car was injured. That is the most important point here. But somebody has to be responsible. When they mess up your property, there's a process for that, okay? And even when you are not at fault, you are scrutinized and you are looked at as the culprit. It's not a fair system, but it is what it is. That doesn't bother me as much as my own insurance company and what I've had to go through with them. So the first thing to know is, years ago, if there was a car accident, you would just call the company. They might come out and assess the damage. Oftentimes they would send you a check. You would take the check to the bank and then you would decide where to go to get the car fixed or not. You could pocket the money and not get the car fixed. That's how it used to be, unless they totaled it. If they totaled it, that's a different story. But if it had front end damage, bumper damage, usually they would send you a check. This time in 2026, I found out it's not easy, and it wasn't like that at all this time around. So basically what happened was the police got involved because it's a hit and run. That's a crime. They caught the person and the person was arrested. Okay. It was something like excess speed, failure to yield, you know, a bunch of things, running from the police. There was a bunch of things on this guy's record. So having said that, you would think it would be an easy one, you know, because obviously they've already established that the guy did it. He was arrested. But it wasn't. Even though he was arrested, I still had to go through hoops. I'm still going through hoops. When I called my insurance company, they weren't polite. People we pay, you know what I'm saying? Like, you pay them every single month. Or maybe you pay by the year or every 6 months or however your payment arrangement is. I pay by the month. And they're not friendly. Any other time I call, they're friendly. If I want to add something to my policy, they're friendly. I have an accident. It's not my fault. They're not friendly. So they transferred me to this other number, not here. Where was I? They transfer you over to this different department. They're outsourced. The outsourced department doesn't know who you are. They've never talked to you, met you. They don't know you pay them. They don't know anything about you. You're calling to report an accident. All they hear is dollar signs out of their bottom line. That's all they hear. So of course they start drilling you, asking you questions. We didn't have the police report because I reported it within 24 hours. So I hadn't gotten the police report yet, because years ago, that's what we were always told to do. Get your insurance card or paper out of your glove box or, you know, in your bill file or whatever, and call the number. But when I called, they treated me like I was dumb. Well, where's the police report? Well, I haven't gotten it yet. They said it's going to take like 48 to 72 hours or something like that. I'm like, but don't you get the police report? And they said, well, we can get it. Well, yeah, please do your job. That's, kind of what we pay for. We pay for insurance. So at this point, I'm upset because I'm like, this should not be a hassle. This is a straightforward thing. The guy committed a crime. He injured our property. Should be a straightforward thing. So then they say, no worries, we can get it later. Let's just go on, talk about the accident. So you tell them in detail what happened. And of course, they want to know if you're at fault in any way, which we were not. We were not at fault in any way. So then they say, did you want to get your car fixed? Well, yeah, duh. The whole side is caved in. Of course I want to get my car fixed. I also have a weekend cleaning job and I move heavy vacuums and things. So I needed a bigger vehicle. I couldn't go with a 4-door car. I had to have some kind of SUV, which I have now. The day I dropped my car off, okay, the weather here was not cooperative. It was torrential downpours. It was perfect hydroplaning roadway weather. I managed to make it safely and on time. I got there. The rental car place was a little backed up. They had a lot of people there that day for some reason. I don't know why, but they were able to come across the street, pick me up and bring me back over. That's how they do things. So I didn't have to walk across the street in the torrential rains, thankfully. And the only car they had available, even though my reservation was reserved for like 2 months, was a truck-like vehicle. I'm not used to driving that. I have driven trucks. This was monstrous, huge. And I'm like, wow. So that caught me by surprise, but I didn't really have to drive it all that much. And I never even had to drive it to my weekend cleaning job because I'm in between weekends when I had the rental. The other pitfalls you may not see coming. You may have a deductible. If you do, you have to pay that out of pocket. Now you can fight for it, but you have to pay for that. Okay. So if the insurance covers everything else, if there's $5,000 worth of damage, the insurance will cover that, but you have to pay the deductible, whatever it is. The rental car place, everything is paid for as long as it's under $50 a day. So I demanded the car they give me to use was less than $50 a day. And I double checked and triple checked because I didn't want to get there and have them go, oh, it's $65 a day. I was not going to pay for this out of pocket. So I did get a vehicle under $50 a day, and they do charge a $50 reservation fee. They said I'd get it back. We'll see. I don't know. But just so you know, you may be out money anyway, even when it's not your fault. That part doesn't upset me as much as the rest of the insurance hassle I had to go through. At the rental car place, they will offer you a separate insurance policy. They charge $20 a day. I declined it. My insurance company said everything would be included if I was in an accident. And the rental car company explained that if you pay the $20 a day, they would cover anything. You walk away. If you don't, then they have to file a claim with your insurance in the case you get an accident or something happens to the vehicle. I'm okay with that. I didn't pay for it. I didn't pay for the $20 a day. This is why I'm unhappy with the process of how it went. When I contacted the insurance company that first day, they said an agent will contact you, and she did. She wanted to talk to everybody in the car to see what happened, to get all of our perspectives, to see if anybody was injured. She said she was the agent that was reserved for us. If I had any questions at all, to call her up, and if we got the police report, to call her up with the police report number, but she was also going to try to get it. So then a few days went by, and we did in fact get the police report. When I called the agent back, though, this secretary, I don't know the title of this person, she's at this outsourced center. She told me that she was no longer on my case. They call it a case, I guess. So I said, well, wait a minute. When I talked to her the other day, she said she was our assigned agent. Yeah, well, she's not. And she was so blunt and rude about it. And I was like, I'm sorry. You know what? I want to talk to her anyway. So is there a voicemail? Does she have a way I can text her? Does she have an email? How else can I get a hold of her besides going through you? This woman was obnoxiously rude. So she says, I'll tell you what, I will leave your number and she can call you back. I was like, thanks. So she did, but I was unavailable. I was in a meeting or something, and she left a message. When she left the message, She explained she's no longer my agent. She was only the agent to assess medical bill coverage. We weren't injured. That was made clear from the moment I called them. There were no injuries. So why on earth would they provide an agent just for medical bill coverage, but nothing else? It didn't make any sense. So I called this secretary person back and I explained what happened, and she said, well, yeah, that's what our department does. They assess for medical bills. And I said, then who can I talk to about the claim? About, the rental car and the smashed car and the body shop? Who do I talk to about that? She says, well, you can do everything online. So they advertise, these insurance companies. They say, oh, you can do online or call us. Very easy. It's not. It's not an easy process. It's a frustrating process. When I tried to go online, now they say, oh, you don't have an account. So now I have to call the secretary back to find out, how do I get an account? They have to set it up. Okay. So then they set it up. You get a PIN or something, or maybe a authentication code or something like that. Then you set it up, and then all of a sudden you have this little portal on your phone. Okay. But it doesn't tell you anything. There's nobody there. There's nobody to talk to. There's only a place to upload information, documents, photos. Well, I received a letter from the court because I'm a victim. Okay. So the court sent me a letter because I'm a victim. So I uploaded that. And then I called the secretary and I said, hey, could you please let me know if that went through? Because this is my first time ever doing this and I just want to make sure. And she said, yeah, but we don't need that. I said, well, it says to upload any documents you have. Yeah, well, we don't need that. Okay. When I go to pick up the car, when it's done, who pays the $500 deductible that I have to pay out of pocket? Oh, the defendant does. Okay, and how do I pursue that? Like, do I personally pursue that? I know how to file a, lawsuit, but is that something you guys do, or do I do it personally? And she goes, oh no, we can do that. Okay. But there was nothing clear about it, or the process, or what they do, or, I want instructions. I want to know how to do this, what to do, what to expect. There was nothing. It was all like nonchalant. I'm like, okay, well, we'll see what happens. Then the auto body place, I had an appointment for them in the rental car for when they were going to service it, because you go first, they assess it, they give you a quote, your insurance company agrees or disagrees, mine agreed, and then they set a date, but the date was a month out. They called and said, oh, we're too busy, we're backed up, can't get it in, you'll have to wait. So then they rescheduled it for August. So today, this morning, I just got the call, the car is ready. So that's great news. But imagine all this time, it's been about, I want to say like 3 months or so, maybe 3.5 months. In all this time, this is taken because somebody was negligent and did a hit and run. And again, I'm so thankful we weren't injured, but just imagine if we were, how long that would take. I can't imagine. I'm just so grateful that this was all it was. And as much as I complain right now, I'm thankful I have insurance. I'm thankful for the whole situation turning out like it did. But just know, if you ever go through this, and I hope you do not, it is not as easy as it sounds. It is not as easy as just upload it on the internet, because they don't call you back. They don't look at the documents. I uploaded the police report 3 times. They got it. 3 people told me they got it. And then I received a call asking me for it. I said I uploaded it 3 times. The girl said, oh, we didn't see it. There it is. So this is what I mean. Even though they say just upload the stuff online, just send us your documents online, they don't look at them. You have to stay on top of them. I don't like to have to micromanage people. Oh, I'm good at it. But I don't like to do it. And then, when you call your local insurance company number, the place you pay, the place you maybe get a birthday card from, but I always get one. I get a Christmas card too. They will not speak to you about it. Nope, not our job. I called twice. The first time to find out what to do. The second time, I got in touch with the assistant of my agent. She would not put me through to my agent, who I've known for years. And she said, it's not our job. We're not going to deal with that. You have to go through this other department. That's where customer service is today, folks. I think customer service is lacking. I think it's not easier, even though we have the technology. I do not like uploading things on these apps. I would rather photocopy and mail or bring it in myself, what they need, but it's just not done that way because they're outsourced. Another thing that helped me stay organized is I got a manila folder right away, and I started putting everything in it because you're going to get paperwork in the mail. Even though they tell you to use the app, they mail you stuff. Ironic, isn't it? So I got a manila folder and I started stuffing it with everything that came in. And every time I went to the body shop or the rental car place or talked to the insurance agent, I made notes. Whether that looks like sticking a notepad in the folder or making notes on the folder, that's up to you. But it's all in one place, nice and neat. And I bring that with me whenever I go to the body shop or the rental car place or talk to the insurance company. Thank you all so much for watching, and please stay safe out there.